Welcome back to The Explainer. So, what actually happens when the cosmic scales finally tip? Today, we're going to unpack the dramatic, apocalyptic vision of Enoch 38 to really understand the mechanics of ultimate justice. We're looking at an ancient text that absolutely does not pull any punches when it comes to detailing how the universe balances those scales. So, let's jump right into the text and see how this framework defines accountability, power, and final consequences. Let's start with this absolutely chilling line from the text, which perfectly sets the stakes for the severe warning we're about to examine. It would have been better for them had they never been born. I mean, just think about the staggering weight of that statement for a second. This isn't just about punishment. It's about a massive cosmic reckoning for those who abuse their power. We're diving into a vision of divine judgment where the consequences of your actions are so absolute and so inescapable that total non-existence is literally presented as a better alternative to facing the music.
Section 1. The Righteous Revealed. Okay, to really grasp this judgment, we first need to look at the inciting incident. The text sets up this stark, immediate contrast right out of the gate. On one hand, you have the congregation of the righteous, and they're defined by this sudden, blinding manifestation of light. On the flip side, we have the sinners, who are immediately troubled in the sight of the entire world and judged for their crimes. Notice how the arrival of one group is the exact trigger for the panic and judgment of the other? It's a simultaneous, global shift in reality. The second that light hits, the shadows are completely exposed.
And the text emphasizes that the righteous don't just randomly appear. They are specifically elected because their good works have been carefully measured and validated by the divine. The phrasing here is super precise, duly weighed by the Lord of Spirits. I want you to visualize an actual cosmic scale here. In this universe, there's meticulous record-keeping. Every single earthly action has mass. Every decision carries weight. And in this culminating moment, they are finally brought to the ultimate scale to prove their righteousness, which perfectly sets the stage for what happens to those whose scales tip the other way.
Moving on to Section 2, and really the core focus of today's explainer: why sinners face judgment.
So why exactly do these sinners face such a devastating fate? The text lays out a very clear, methodical case, brilliantly illustrating three distinct charges against them. It's a progression, right? First, they're judged for their tangible, physical, earthly crimes, the actual damage they did in the world. Second, it escalates to profound spiritual treason because they actively and consciously rejected the Lord of Spirits. And third, they acted impiously, carrying out their malice right up until the secrets of the righteous were finally revealed. It is a comprehensive, three-pronged indictment of their actions, their allegiances, and their core character. They aren't just flawed humans, they are active participants in a rebellion against cosmic order.
With those three charges clearly locked in, Enoch 38 poses this brilliant rhetorical question. When the very fabric of reality shifts to illuminate the righteous, the shadows vanish completely. So where do the guilty hide? The text asks, where the habitation of sinners, and where the place of rest for those who have rejected the Lord of Spirits? And a haunting, implied answer is, of course, nowhere. There is literally no sanctuary left in the entire universe.
Which brings us to Section 3, the fall of earthly power.
This is the great climax of the text. The crucial point here is the complete, terrifying inversion of the hierarchy. Before this event, these individuals, who are described as the mighty kings, were powerful, exalted, and the literal possessors of the earth. But after the judgment, the entire geopolitical structure of the world is flipped completely upside down. They become utterly powerless. They're stripped of their titles, their wealth, their land, and they're delivered directly into the hands of the exact same people they used to ruthlessly rule over.
It actually notes that these former rulers become so diminished, they are physically incapable of even looking upon the countenances of the holy and righteous. Their loss of power isn't just political or financial, it is a profound physical humiliation. And here is the most striking irony of the whole thing. The radiant light of the righteous, which is a source of ultimate salvation and beauty for the elect, becomes the exact mechanism of torture and blinding shame for the sinners. The pure presence of goodness just becomes overwhelmingly unbearable to them.
Now here's the detail you cannot miss. Enoch 38 specifically states they will not be destroyed in that period. Just pause and think about that. Justice here isn't some quick annihilation. It's a conscious, ongoing subjugation. By being delivered into the hands of the righteous, they're forced to actively experience the exact inversion of their former earthly dominance. They aren't just wiped from existence, they have to live with the excruciating awareness of their complete loss of power, bowing to the very people they previously oppressed.
Finally, Section 4, the final consequence.
We finally reach the conclusive, totally unchangeable reality of this chapter. The text is abundantly clear that from this exact moment on, there is absolutely zero pity, zero mercy, and zero commiseration granted by the divine. The door to forgiveness is firmly, irreversibly shut. Nor thenceforwards shall any obtain commiseration. The finality of this cosmic judgment is absolute. There are no appeals courts, no second chances, and literally no sympathetic ears left anywhere to hear their pleas.
And the most fascinating justification is given for this. Commiseration ceases permanently, simply because the time for action in their earthly lives has definitively run out. The text explicitly says, because their lives in this world will have been completed. This reveals the core, unyielding philosophy of Enoch 38. Earthly life is presented purely as a finite testing ground. Once the clock runs out, the results are locked in forever. The opportunity to choose a different path, to do good works, or to acknowledge the divine, it simply expires the second their earthly tenure is done. The time for mercy was during their lives. The afterlife is solely for consequences.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on regarding how these ancient themes of ultimate accountability might actually apply to our modern world. If all earthly power is ultimately temporary, how does that change the way we view justice today? Enoch 38 forces us to look way past our immediate everyday structures of authority and consider a much longer, unyielding arc of accountability. It's a fascinating look at how ancient texts process the concepts of crime, power, and final justice. Thank you so much for exploring this with me, and keep questioning the frameworks around you.